Brian comes to SUAA with more than 20 years of experience in government relations and running nonprofit organizations. After receiving his master's degree from George Washington University in political science, he was part of the University of Illinois Springfield internship program and served full-time as a legislative analyst in the Illinois House of Representatives. Over the past few decades, he has represented the interests of the Illinois Chiropractic Society, the American Red Cross, the Boys and Girls Club of Illinois, and most recently as the Associate Executive Director of Government Relations with the Illinois Association of School Boards. Brian is the father of 2 children, Zeph and daughter Shaylee. Please join me in welcoming to SIU and SUA Brian Sodi.
Thank you, Keith. It's been a nice welcome indeed. I started January 1st, and this is my first chapter visit, and so I hope they're all this great, right? How about a hand for Keith? What a great job putting it together before tonight. Thank you. So my thanks to all of you for coming together and showing how vibrant SUAA is to our Senator Harris, and certainly want to thank Senator Harris for joining us here tonight as well and all that you do. So I don't want to stand in between you and a VIP, so I'll get right to it. Erica Harriss is a proud Metro East native born in Highland who began her service as a state senator in the 56th District in 2023. Prior to her election to the Senate, Erica served on the Madison County Board for 6 years, representing its 26th district. During her time on the board, she served as the chairperson of the Personnel Committee and was also a member of the Finance, Government Operations, and Grants Committees. Her guiding principle as a county board member was to put the taxpayer, the parent, and the resident first, and she worked diligently to promote fiscal responsibility while maintaining high-quality services, infrastructure, and government accountability. Now she continues to promote those priorities at the state level. In addition to her work in the Senate, Erica is also an entrepreneur and small business owner. Prior to opening her business in 2014, she worked in the marketing and communication field. In her free time, Erica volunteers in her community at various local charity organizations and is an active member and youth group leader at Metro Community Church. A proud Tiger alum, graduating from Edwardsville High School before earning her college degree in speech communication and public relations from SIU Edwardsville in 1999. Erica and her husband, Jeff, reside in Glen Carbon and have 3 children. Senator Harris, I'm expecting a dynamite speech.
Great. Well, thank you so much. Thanks for having me. I had an opportunity to meet with some of you several months back. I was a very small group, so I'm happy to be here and get to introduce myself to a much larger group. I think a big part of being a great representative is being able to listen to the people that you are supposed to represent. So this will provide us a great avenue to get started with that. I'm hoping to provide you with an overview of my first year in office, also some priorities and potential legislation that I'm planning to bring forth. I'll let you know what happened in this last year and talk about different committees I'm on. And if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer those too. And if I don't know the answer, we will do our best to find out and get back with you. Because what I've learned in this last year is the state is a really big place. And so 1 year under our belt, we've learned a lot, but there's so much more to learn. So we'll go ahead and I'll kind of talk through a little bit about who I am, my background. As Brian said, I am a Metro East native, born in Highland. I graduated from Edwardsville High School, and then went on to have an academic and a scholarship for tennis here at SIU. So coming back was really neat tonight. I walked past and saw a paper copy of the Alestle, so I grabbed it so that I can read it later and see how it's maybe changed. Then I have my experience. I went to KSCK News, worked there for a little while, worked at the National Children's Cancer Society, did marketing and public relations for them, and it just kind of has always had a heartbeat for just helping people and serving others, and those opportunities allowed me to do that pretty well. And I got married, have 3 kids. They are now a freshman in college, a junior in high school, and 1 in middle school. So kind of the full gamut there. These are our fur babies. And I did start a small business back in 2014 and was a Madison County board member from 2016 to 2022, something I am now very grateful for, to have had a little bit of that experience to bring with me to the state level. Kind of my philosophy of things is to listen large, solve problems, and then celebrate wins. Here's a little bit of a graphic, got 2 graphic illustrations to kind of show how different people can be thinking different things and how they can, missing that part of that, that's important there. And then here we've got our reveal and our listen and understanding. So these are kind of some visual philosophies that I like to live by. Here are the committees that I serve on. I am the local government the minority spokesperson for local government. So things that come through that committee that affect local government, I get to be the spokesperson and represent my caucus on. I am also on the Energy and Public Utilities Committee, the Higher Education Committee, which is, of course, of interest to you all. Serve on the Veterans Affairs Committee, the Special Committee on Pensions, another one which would be topically of interest to you. It is a special committee, so it doesn't meet quite as often as the typical other committees, but there are bills that come through there that I think we probably should have conversations about. And then I'm also on the Appropriations Committee for Health and Human Services, which is where the Health and Human Service groups from Illinois come and say what their plan is and what their budget is and that type of thing. So that's been a really great kind of all-encompassing for learning this past year. Brought some pictures along just to show you. A lot of times people kind of hear the legislative side of things, but never get to visit Springfield or really see what it's like. So, of course, the Capitol building there, and that was a shot. I had spoken on the floor that day about something, and the news wanted to do a little, story on it, so we did a Zoom interview. So every day there is kind of nonstop, and no day is the same, so that keeps things very exciting. And then between the Capitol building and the other buildings that are attached, there are these series of tunnels, which I think is weirdly kind of exciting. And so just wanted to show you a picture because not everybody knows that or gets to see those types of things either. Here's more tunnels, and then of course part of the rotunda, which a year in I still walk in and look up and am absolutely amazed. So wanted to get to show you that. Most of you probably are aware, but for those that don't, there are 59 senators in the state of Illinois and 118 House representatives. Of course, I'm the senator for this area, which is District 56. The 2 House representatives that are in the Senate district are Katie Stewart and Amy Ellick. And then here are the communities in a map to kind of show you our district, and we are the yellow. And then I brought a little kind of a flash of a calendar just so you could kind of see this is our personal calendar. Again, kind of a behind the scene glimpse that's not really legislative, but just I used to wonder before I was in this seat, like, what do senators do? What do their day look like? And so our calendar there's like 5 people who have access and are adding things to the calendar all the time. And then my kids are adding things and my husband. So it gets kind of complicated. So we kind of have color codes and all that. So just kind of wanted to show you a behind the scenes of that. We have people come from our district and visit in Springfield and would absolutely welcome any of you to come and do so. Especially if you haven't been before, it's kind of nice just to get to have that visual, especially if you're a visual learner, of getting to see like how the process works and how it happens. Maybe you could visit a committee and get to like hear a bill being debated, or even be a part of something that at some point too. So here are just some different groups that have come up and visited us and stopped by my office during this last year. The first bill that I passed was House Bill 1273, and it is kind of like it's historical to have people like take that piece of paper there. They all signed it after they voted for it. So then you get that framed and kind of keep that as a keepsake. Constitution Day was what that first bill was for. And it just, in federal law, it talks about Constitution Day, but we had not ever codified that in Illinois. So we weren't necessarily celebrating that in school. So it codified it in the Illinois school code that school children in Illinois learn about and celebrate Constitution Day. And then after we did that, Granite City School and actually a few others reached out and said, will you come and talk to us on Constitution Day and help us tell the kids about what it is? And so that was really neat to get to pass that bill and then get to locally come back and try and get some of these high schoolers and middle schoolers excited about what the Constitution is. So in 2023, here are some of the bills that I was able to pass. There was the Constitution Day, House Bill 1297, amend the Downstate Teacher Article of Illinois Pension Code. House Bill 1769 was the State University Civil Service Act. 2618 was a DCFS criminal history check, and 2418 was an expungement act for trafficking victims. And then we also amended the Illinois Vehicle Code, which was 1865. Here's a little bit more in depth. I highlighted two that I thought you all might be interested in just to kind of draw your attention to it. So that 1297, that extends the current pension code statute. It allows teachers to buy up to 2 years of service credit at a private or parochial school from the TRS system. And then the House Bill 1865 allows both a private university and college police department to use the same designated police license plates, which is something they weren't able to do before. In 2024, kind of a glimpse into what I'm working on right now. Here's some bills that I filed for this session. If you go to the website is ilga.gov, you can click on, there's senators and House members, and you can click on anyone's name and see all the bills that they filed, and then you can see if people signed on as co-sponsors or if they've been assigned to a committee, that type of thing. So here's the bills that I just recently filed. We just had a deadline for that, and some of them have been assigned to committees, but we aren't yet in the process where I've gotten to present at those committees just yet. That's kind of just starting, so. And then just a few more pictures from different events and things happening around the district I thought I'd show you. You see the chancellor there. You might recognize him. And again, this job is never, ever the same day. So some days I'm like planting trees for Earth Day, and then other days presenting awards to people who've saved people's lives, or going into schools and helping to really inspire kids and kind of take history off of the pages and bring it to life for them. So this is some events we did in the summer. Got to throw out the first pitch at a baseball game. And did not make it across the plate, if you're wondering. College athlete, but clearly couldn't throw a baseball. So get to go to ribbon cuttings, and I've gotten to see a lot of different businesses that we have and different nonprofits and how they work together. And really, I think part of this job is being a networker. So when people come and need help, I can sometimes bring those parties together. That's something that I didn't necessarily anticipate. And then some more just summer and district events. And then this is just here since January. We have, I'm sure you all have heard about the big opening at Wheeland and the investment that the state has put into that area. And then I've had some of you are in this picture, actually. So had some people from SIU come and visit. That one picture is this last week. The governor gave his State of the State and budget address. And then after that, we had a St. Louis reporter who asked if he could ask us some questions about it. So we did a little interview there in the Capitol. And that bottom picture is a picture of a computer screen, because I do spend a lot of time on webinars and web meetings and that kind of thing. So I wanted to just kind of give you a full picture. The fire truck, we rode along with the Alton firemen not too long ago, which was good to be able to kind of have a idea of all the things that they do. I was surprised how many people call 911 when it's not really an emergency. And then visiting really with other first responders. This is the Granite City Police Department. When I started my business, I actually visited with the Small Business Development Center and had some relationships from that time. So it's really neat now, full circle, getting invited when you all are winning awards, like major awards for that import-export part of the Small Business Development Center. And Valentine's Day, we ask people in the community, make Valentines, and we will deliver them to senior homes and that type of thing. And so we collected them, and that's another really fun part of the job. Got to deliver those to people who don't always get mail and are sometimes forgotten about. And then I am on a warehouse task force, which that lower right hand was from picture. We all remember the Amazon warehouse that the tornado hit a few years back. And so now there's a task force that is kind of evaluating the response of that and the warehouse standards and that, and seeing if there's anything we can do in the future to make things better so that something like that doesn't happen again. I was, this last summer, I applied to 2 different fellowships, thinking maybe I would get one. I was really honored to get both. So it was a very busy summer. And I was able to be an Edgar Fellow at the University of Illinois. And people ask, did the governor like really come? And he was there the entire time helping teach us. So this is his time really is where his heart is on that. He was always very available to us during that fellowship program, which was very nice. And then I was able to be a part of another one, which is that Build group. And it is not just from Illinois, it's from more of a regional area in Canada. And that they bring legislators together, and you get to meet and talk and see what's working in your area and what's not, and that type of thing. So that was very educational as a freshman. Some things that we are locally doing. We have traveling office hours. Our district office is in downtown Edwardsville. Purposefully, there's a bus stop down the street, and a lot of people know where it's at and come for the courthouse there in the administration building. And as you all know, Springfield is a super big, busy place. And something that I heard often before being a legislator is that government doesn't really work for us, or they don't know how to make it work for them. They don't know who to go to. So we're trying to really change that side of the equation and just be available for people. We, as a part of that, are going out into communities, partnering with libraries and townships, and really most anyone will have us that is in the district. And we schedule traveling office hours and go sit at their office for a few hours, advertise that we're going to be there, and that way people in those communities really know how to find us. Through this, we do get a lot of questions that are maybe not state related, but through the relationships we've formed, we can send them to the federal people or local people too. So we're really able to, I think, be a little more helpful to people who in general have been like, I don't know where to go or what to do type of thing. We've had some mayor roundtable events where we brought our mayors together to sit and hear what's important to them and their communities and how I can help them in Springfield. We've had an unclaimed property event where that was kind of exciting. Then we had several people find out that they were owed like thousands of dollars. So felt a little like Oprah Winfrey that day. And then as I kind of shared with you, I'm a youth group leader. Our younger generation is important to me. I think that we need to show them that this can be exciting and is meaningful work. And we have a youth advisory council, which was actually our first one was held here at SIU this last fall. And we had invited the local school districts to send a few students to come for the day. And they came and we broke them into teams and they came up with bill ideas. And they were grouped with other students from other schools, so they weren't all just with their own schools. And then they voted on the best bill idea that came out of that day. And they were bringing it to Springfield just in another month here. And we'll get to go in a committee room and kind of debate that and get to do that and kind of have that come to life for them. And then we've done community clean out and shred events. Upcoming topics that I think we're going to be hearing a lot about in Springfield this next session are energy, childcare, internet safety for minors, and of course, education is always a big topic. I don't know that one ever quite falls off the list, or I hope not. Things that our office specifically can help with are are these things: voter registration, unemployment claims, void and concealed carry, senior service referrals, professional licensing issues, state funding opportunities, aid agency referrals. And we do commemorations and recognitions. If people reach out and have something that they, would like to be recognized, we try and make that happen. We can help with state tax issues, Medicaid assistance, unclaimed property claims, and a whole lot more. But this is like the bulk of kind of popular what we get calls about. We do get calls like, my neighbor's dog is barking and I don't know what to do too, but it's kind of the bulk of it. And then basically my promise is I want to make sure I'm accessible and that we are providing amazing constituent assistance. Again, Springfield is big. I'm one senator of 59, right? So I have one vote and not as much control, but locally here, we can, if people are coming to us and needing help, that's where we want to be really awesome, where we can control that. I want to be a good legislative advocate for you and then be engaged in our community. So here's some ways that you can stay in touch. And they're on our website too. And here's some of our team. So if you reach out, those are some of our team here who you would maybe get to chat with. And then I jotted down a few more notes that I wanted to share briefly that I think specifically might be of interest to your group. On the health insurance rates for the college insurance program, is that something that is on your purview, or is that more? Yes. Okay. So you probably know that program's experiencing delays of 18 plus months right now due to funding shortfalls. So the steps are being taken to help alleviate those delays. Previous contributions funded 62% of the liability, which results in unpaid bills. And without statutory change, the backlog of bills for this program was going to keep increasing, further inflating the backlog of unpaid bills. So active employee and employer contribution rates were increased from 0.50% of salary to 0.75% of salary. And that began July 1st, 2023. Now, July 1st, 2024 through June 30th, 2026, the contribution rate shall be an amount not to exceed 0.1% higher than the fiscal year. And then beginning July 1st, 2027, the contribution rate shall be set to an amount not to exceed 105% of the salary actually required to be contributed for the previous fiscal year. If you're taking notes, I can give you all these too. So I don't want to talk too in the weeds if you aren't here, but so the state did contribute an extra $25 million in the fiscal 2023 budget, and then for 24 and 25 they have increased those amounts to help shorten those payment delays. So wanted to give you that update. I thought that would be of interest to you. So that kind of concludes it. Anybody have any questions? I'm happy to try and answer them. Yes.
That was fascinating. Thanks for the look behind the scenes there. You stay so busy. This may answer the question, but I was just wondering, you do so much. I think it's your staff.
So locally here, it's myself, Hayden, and then Trina, who's in the red dress. So they are, like, while I'm in Springfield, they're in the Edwardsville office. Taking calls and that type of thing. The rest of the staff here is up in Springfield. So in Springfield, I have one legislative assistant that's assigned just to me that helps keep the Springfield schedule. And then we have, like, as a caucus, people who help do communications, people who help do bill analysis. So, each legislator is going to have that topic that is a little more that maybe they're more interested in or have experience in. But we sit on many committees. So you are sometimes going to find yourself on a committee that you don't really know a whole lot about. And so that's where, the personal relationships and people who are in the field really matter. But also people on staff will analyze those bills and say, this is how much this will cost the state, or this is how this will impact this. And, here's here's who is happy about this, here's who's not happy about this, here's what current law says, here's what other states are doing, that type of thing. So when I was keeping those notes all year about here's possible ways, bills I could introduce to make things better. When we sat down to go through those, we were doing a lot of that to see what are other states doing? Is this the first time this has been done? When it was passed, what were the ramifications of it? That type of thing. So there are different people that kind of specialize in communications or the bill analysis and that type of thing. There's a staffer, not just for me, but that works in the Capitol that is assigned to each committee, and they help the committees run smoothly and make that packet so that the bills that are coming through the committee, and a lot of times they'll pull that analysis so that you can check it out. Yeah. Yes.
I just want to clarify, the college insurance program you referred to, is this the program for community colleges that delays spot? Sure.
It is the health insurance rates for the college insurance program. I don't have a bill number here. Is it just, okay. Great. Yes. No, that's fantastic. Thank you. I was not aware of that. See, good example. Any other questions? So the budget has almost $1 billion in new taxes, and it has $2 billion in new spending. So I am cautiously optimistic about that. A lot of that, the new taxes that are written down for that they're expecting as revenue, still will have to have legislation pass. So the governor does hold a supermajority in the state, so there is a good possibility he could pass that legislation, but that's not always the case. So I think that not everything is party line, and sometimes we'll have to see how that plays out. But I am a little bit nervous that there's all those new taxes and new spending, especially when the law for it isn't necessarily there yet. So, yeah. So last year, again, I have last year to kind of base on. Last year, his State of the State and budget address was pretty close to what the final budget ended up being. So my experience so far is that it will probably closely resemble what he presented last week. We're still sifting through that, but top line is that there is quite an increase, and that increase isn't necessarily, those revenue projections aren't necessarily based on things that are current law. There will have to be changes to the law that happen, and a lot of those are at the expense of businesses. Some of families. If you make $500,000 or less, the credit amount has changed a little bit too, so your taxes will increase a little bit on that too. And I don't know if you heard the grocery store tax. That was kind of that was notable. He announced that he was going to take away the 1% grocery store tax, which is fantastic. However, the flip side of that is our municipalities really, really rely on that money. And in the current plan, there is not something written to make them whole. So I actually jumped on as a chief co-sponsoring legislation to backfill those municipalities if we get rid of that 1%, because otherwise all our property taxes will go up. And that's another thing. In this budget, there was not a cent that we saw of any kind of property tax relief. So that is, on a personal note to me, I thought was a little disappointing. So, yeah. Anybody else? Yes.
This is all. What if since to your staff to try to serve our cheapest all things St. Louis. Well, the issue we face is I mean, the state discipline my officers.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, so the House Senate Committee has been meeting all along here. The Senate Special Committee hasn't met yet this year. The House had meetings over the summer, and in the House? Okay. All right, I'll have to. Thank you. Okay. I think if you were a group that was left out, it's probably easier to get added than to change. Kind of like that bill that I did last year on the license plates. That was something that we're able to get added like the other departments. All right. Well, if you think of anything, please call our office, and we're happy to do a little bit of research and a little deeper dive. Then we can probably just give you off the cuff too. Like I said, there's a lot of different committees and a lot of different topics, so being an expert on them all is kind of a challenge, but we certainly can do good research. So I'm happy to help you, and thanks for having me tonight.
Again, thank you, Senator Harris, for sharing your time and expertise with us. We greatly appreciate it. So, again, thank you all for attending tonight. Really appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of the week. Thank you.